Excellent. Well, thanks for all of you to join me today for the orientation session. I hope so far your internship experience is enjoyable. It's definitely hot there, depending on your location. And some of you may stay in the valley, some of you may be in the Bay Area, which luck out a little bit. Okay. The purpose of today's orientation session really is trying to take care of some housekeeping issues there, as well as explaining to you, um, you know, what are we expecting from you as students who are actually conducting the internship during the summer, and what can you expect to get out of this class, as well as what if you have questions related to your internship. Okay. So first thing first, and we only have one or two. Architecture study students in this class. Usually in the past, we actually have a separate course shell, which is called ARC 193I, being used for architecture study students. Because of the budget cut, we've been told that we could not offer, more than many sessions of this 193I. So that's why we kind of consolidated both the BSCM and BSAS students in one course shell. And I did check that, the course assignments for those two different degree programs, I would say 80-90% similar. So I don't see a huge issue for the architecture study students to obtain in similar experiences by taking this class. So I just want to clarify that. But if you do have questions regarding how the architecture studies students assignments might slightly be different, you can reach out to me through email. But I assume by now, everyone should have access to the Canvas shell, right? If you do not, please let me know immediately at the end of the meeting so I can manually add you to the course shell. It is a class still. It's a one unit class. It is called 193I. And as many of you know, that this is a prerequisite to the 180A capstone class. So it is very important for you to actually complete this class before you take the capstone, or actually take them concurrently, depending on where you are at. I know that, in the past several years, we'll have students start to take this class fairly early, as early maybe as the first summer after the freshman year, which is, awesome. I say kudos to yourself that you take care of this at such an early stage, and also definitely helps you to kind of get a good exposure to what industry is looking for. It will help you to be more focused on once you return from your internship. So you kind of know what to expect in different classes there. A lot of students actually complete change their mindsets after the first internship. And of course, as you're staying in the program, you can do your second or third internship until you graduate, right? So that's very positive. Um, yes, I understand most of this class really is about, you conducting the internship with your employer, but at the same time, we do have some assignments that we're expecting from you. In addition to that, we do have a couple of assessment. The assessment is something that we officially evaluate your knowledge or skills on certain things that we will need to provide to our external accrediting body that give us the ACCE, which stands for American Council for Construction Education, accreditation requirements. So it is essentially for you to complete those assignments. So without further ado, let me actually just walk you through what to expect, right? It's a simple course show, which is way simpler than most of the other Canvas courses you have seen in the past there. But when you come here, the landing page usually is the announcements. So that's why, you will see those announcements sent to you guys, trying to, make a conversation with you. But you can also go to the modules and you can see immediately what to expect in terms of, what are some of the assignments. There's no lecture, whatever. Okay, so they're just purely just what you are expected to provide or communicate to me what you have done throughout the summer. So the first thing first is you're gonna have those a lot of so-called weekly status report. Okay, I wanted to answer one question that is frequently proposed by all of you that oh, your first assignments of the weekly reports due May 26th, but my internship did not start until like June, whatever it is. So the reason we have a due date is just because, we want to use that as a reminder, right? We want to use that so that way you know that you still have something to submit. So you would not completely forget about it and, it just accumulates everything towards the end of the summer. Then you have to submit everything at one time. That's going to be overwhelming. So if you start no matter when did you start, okay, you may actually start earlier than May 26th. You just submit your weekly reports in the sequence, right? Just your first week is going to be week one. Second week is week two. Ignore those actual deadlines. Those deadlines, as mentioned, is a soft deadline, and late submission, it will not give you a penalty or anything. Okay, it's not going to deduct your points, whatever it is. All right. Now, I want you to pay attention to some of the other assignments, which say something like, C2 and B1 as well as A1, right? Those are extremely important because not only, as you see here, the weekly reports is only counting like 10 points, but those assignments, for instance, the C2 project delivery summary, that, as you probably see, that there's something called ACCE. Again, ACCE is our external accrediting body. So they need to see our students, how do they do in this particular assignments here. So that's ACCE learning outcome number 12, which is understanding, project delivery systems in our industry, right? Then you also have this B1, which is ethical decision making reports. That's also ACCE student learning outcome number 6, right? So this one is no longer, well, this one is actually also important, but it's not. I need to update that the verbiage on that. That one is also very important. It's a scope of work video that is used as a evaluation of your oral presentation assessment. In the past, we have been relying on some of the capstone classes and other classes that you have a group presentation. Well, ACC tell us, hey, when we do assessment, we really want to look at individual students' presentation skills, not only just in the team. So that's the reason why we have created this assignment specifically for you as an individual to present a certain topic that you run into during your, internship. So that way we use that to explain or actually present that to our accrediting bodies, say how our students present professionally, right? Then of course, have this internship reflection video. And in between, I also want to have some checkup meetings with you on an individual basis. So towards the end of June and early July, I am going to send out, appointment slots for you to sign up for me to meet with you about 15 minutes. Really, that's all that takes, okay? A midterm checkup really is trying to see how you are doing with your current internship. And do you feel like the internship is worth it? Does it actually meet your expectations? And are there any concerns you want to share with me? Um, Another thing is more like, for quality assurance. Over the years, we have worked with so many different companies and, employers. I would say 99% of them are decent, right? They are great employers and they are looking for the talent and they are intended to offer students full-time jobs after they, complete the internship with you. So most of them are very good, okay, and they're also great employer, very caring people. But there are one or two occasions over my last 10 years of President's Day, I would say three occasions that actually raise alarm to us. So we actually, have decided to not work with that particular employer anymore because of certain concerns, such as, students being literally abused verbally and mentally because the employers, instead of actually coaching them and mentoring them, they just throw assignments randomly to our interns, and if they cannot complete or they have questions, they will just verbally attack the students by saying why you don't even know this, that's whatever it is. So that's very concerning. Okay, if you run into something like that, please let me know immediately. You don't even have to wait for the midterm checkup. If you do run into something like that, the abusive, relationship there, just please bring that to my attention immediately, and I'll work with you, see what we can do there, right? Other, circumstances, including employers doing unethical issues, unethical behaviors. They ask students to assume responsibilities completely out of their range. So, for instance, we have employers ask students to sign, bills on behalf of the company without even explaining to why they should do that. Apparently, you're not actually counting on an intern to sign off bills or, accounts payables and accounts receivables. So this is definitely, above and beyond your pay grade. You should not be doing that. Okay. So if that concerns you, reach out to me again as well. I will definitely speak on behalf of you to negotiate with the contractor, see what's going on there. Okay. Um, So any questions at this point in terms of those assignments? Because I wanted to dive into a couple of assignments, but they're very important and they're also quite tricky, in terms of how you should complete that. But overall, this is what you expect, right? We don't have any specific lectures, anything. This is basically the list of, items you need to complete throughout the summer. By the end of the summer, I would like to have a final interview with you on campus, ideally in person. But if you do have concerns, you don't have, availability through in person, I can accommodate you through Zoom meetings. But that's, pretty much it in terms of expectations overall. I want to pause for 1 minute just in case anyone has any questions. If you have questions, just, you can raise your hand. You can just turn your mic on and just talk. Anyone, any
I had a,
question?
I had a question about
Hmm.
of course, we're expected to reach our certain amount of hours that is
Yes.
within the expectation. Now for some reason there is like a day where we're sick, or some life change happens.
Right.
Is that something that we communicate with our workplace to make up those hours that we miss out on, or with
So
this?
the two
Yeah.
parts, right? And
Hmm.
always ask for leave from your supervisor, regardless what that is. It could be, a bereavement. It could be some other important family, events or prior, already scheduled appointments, whatever it is. Always obtain approval from your current employer so you can actually leave without concerns, right? That's the first thing. Second thing is in terms of the hours. Yes, we do want our students to enjoy a full-time summer internship opportunity or experience, because the full-time, the consistency of a full-time employment during summer definitely is different from your part-time, like working 8 to 10 hours a week, because that's very fragmented. But if you say, well, throughout my summer, I only was able to get 380 hours, am I going to be deemed by that 20 hours missing? Not at all. Okay. Do not worry about those. We understand, things happens, and sometimes you just don't have much work going on. Sometimes with the employer, they choose to let you to take hours off, things like that. That happens. But if you are significantly under, so for instance, your internship only involves like half time of the week, like you work instead of 40 hours, you only work 20 hours a week, right? So things like that, we would like to negotiate with the employer, see if they could actually extend your internship into the semester. So that way you still have hours accumulated. So, in summary, if you're only like 20, 30 hours, short, I would not worry much about that at all. Okay. But if you're significantly under like half, of the hours, like 200 hours throughout the whole summer, then please reach out to me if that's the concern. Does that answer your question, Alexis?
Yes, thank you. That perfectly
Okay.
answered my question.
Excellent. Anyone else? Any other questions?
I have
The,
one
the
more. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
sorry, the videos about us saying like the videos that we have to submit, that's also reported weekly or just every month, or like how? Because we need to do a report every week, but that one is written. The
Yes. So the video reports, each one of those called out assignments, such as, C2 and B1, A1, C3, those are one-time assignments. You don't have to do that every time. So I'll actually jump into that, Ruby. I'll explain those individual assignments, because those assignments have a lot of points. As you see here, each one of those assignments usually is 150 points instead of, like, 10 points. So that's why it's essentially important for you to complete those. Okay.
okay.
Shane, I noticed that you knocked in. As I explained at the very beginning of the orientation session, I understand that architecture study students have slightly different assignments, but it's only like very, very little. So I can explain to you later at the end of this video, or actually can email you about what you can do. But generally speaking, I think it carries the same exact structure, except for one assignment that I think that's unique to the architecture study students. But I'll definitely share that information with you. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. So if there's no other questions for now, let me actually dive into those important, assignments, so that way you know what I'm talking about. So first, let's dive into the C2. um, project delivery. Okay. So what this is about is we're trying to see if students understand after you complete CM20, especially, right? We touched upon project delivery methods in CM2, CM17, CM 18 and CM20, of course, ARC2, ARC17, ARC18, and ARC20. We touched upon the concepts of project delivery, right? So in combination of project delivery, you also have other concepts that are related to this. So for instance, the procurement, okay? You have related to project delivery assistant, procurement process, and a contracting pricing methods, right? So this little assignments provided a link for you to refer to a textbook, which is a little chapter there. But overall, what we want to know about is we want to know the project you're currently working on, right? Well, who is the owner? Where is it? You know, who's the designer? Who's the contractor? Your company's role in this, right? Then when it comes to project delivery, if you have learned project delivery systems, you probably know that there are several project delivery methods in our industry that's being widely used, right? In the old days, we use design bid build, right? That's the basically traditional project delivery methods. We also have design build. We have CM at risk. We'll have multiplying, least back. That's what delivery methods refer to. Okay. When it comes to procurement process, we're really looking at how this project is bid out. So which means how does the owner actually was able to secure, okay, the contractor who is going to build the projects. It could be negotiated, it could be competitive bidding. For competitive bidding, there's also different types of competitive bidding, right? It could be like, lowest price. Who give me the lowest bid? I'm gonna give the job to them. It could be some, not only I care about price, but I also care about quality. I want to look at your qualifications. That's what we call best value system, right? Does those want to ring a bell to you guys at all? Like you should have learned this already by this point, okay? But if you haven't, take a look at the book, okay? The textbook there, and they have some quick chapters for you to review. But I hope, okay, you should have some concepts related to project delivery systems, procurement process. Now, the contracting pricing methods is really how the contract stipulates on how the contract gets paid, right? So usually, if you're using low bid, using the design bid built as the traditional project delivery methods, lump sum, right? Lump sum is, this is the total price. I don't care how you actually going to use it, but I want the project to be done within the state and, under this budget here. There's also cost plus a fee, right? Like CM at risk loves cost plus fee. They want the contract to reimburse, okay, the money by showing how much they have done on a monthly basis. Then they're going to actually give you the cost and also maybe award you something like a fee to the contractors. Or sometimes they even give you awards because you have finished the job, um, before the deadline, things like that, right? There's also, unit cost, like in the heavy civil construction industry, when it comes to earth movements, highways and railroads, whatever it is, they are paid through units because the absolutely work of load is not clear, but they know that usually when you move like how many cubic yards of earth, that's how much you should pay the contractor. So that's unit cost. So there are a whole lot more than that, but that's what the contracting methods was referring to. In the CM at risk world, there's also something called a guaranteed maximum price, GMP, right? So the contract is going to actually promise the owner, I am going to complete the job, at this maximum price. But if we do actually save money, we go lower than this, can we actually share profits with you, right? Things like that. So pay attention to those assignments. It's very brief. So you really only need to fill out this form and with a minimum 250 words there and summarize how did you actually find those information? What do you think about this particular delivery methods and procurement process or contracting methods? Does it make sense, right? Does it actually help the project to obtain its project goals, etc.? You can interview your project manager. You can look at, talk to your colleagues, see if you actually know anything about this. Okay, so it's really more about the awareness, the knowledge, and facts finding. That's what this assignment is for. I do understand in the past we actually run into a situation as well is there are students are hired to do cost estimating for the internship, right? So you're not working on any specific projects. Instead, you're in the cost estimating department. So students are asking, how can I actually do this assignments? Well, if that's the case, choose one that you're most familiar with. Just choose one. You don't have to worry about, anything else. Just choose one and go dig the facts and find that out. Okay. So, and towards the bottom of this assignment there, you will see how this is graded. When you submit your report, I want you to follow, practice your professionalism, right? You have learned, how to write in a professional manner. So I would love to, have your writing. It doesn't have to be long, okay? So all your writing is in this form. Just make sure your language, the choices of words reflecting the norm in our industry, right? I don't want anything that is fancy. Um, and I'm sure that some of you are tempted to use ChatGPT. I'm okay with ChatGPT, but you need to verify, okay, if what they say is accurate, if what they say makes sense, okay? If you use ChatGPT, I would appreciate if you actually provide like a one sentence statement towards the end, say, this report has used ChatGPT for assistance, okay? Does that make sense? Any questions on that?
I have one.
Go ahead, Isaiah.
So this form, this relates to the project that we're working on right now.
Correct.
Okay. I
Yes.
just
If
wanted
you
to
have a
know.
project that you are dedicated to, use the current project. But if you are a customer that works on, multiple business at the same time, you can find a project that your company is currently working on and ask help from your supervisor to gather those information.
I have one.
Okay.
What if we have multiple projects that we're working on? Do we just choose one?
Choose one. Yeah, just choose one. Tell me which project is going to focus on discussing because this information you can fill out here on the phone here, project title, location, and that's completely fine. Just choose one.
Okay.
Isaiah, you still have some questions there?
No, but one actually, nah, I should be fine. All right.
Okay. Well, reach out to me. All right. Anyone else? Okay. If not, let's go back to the other assignments. Is there another assignments I want to make sure that everybody understands? The ethical decision making report, it's a tricky one. The reason for me to say that is because a lot of students don't feel comfortable talking about ethics. They oftentimes have this, conception that ethics is bad. Must made a mistake or somebody did something that is unethical. I'm so afraid of, talking about it. Don't be, please. This assignment is not trying to get you in trouble by asking, your supervisor, oh, what did this company do unethical? Not, it's not about that, right? It's more about, can you coach me about, potential challenges I might actually run into when I go into the industry? There may be ethical decision-making challenges there. There are certain things that is pretty obvious, right? If you guys heard about beach shopping, right? Beach shopping is a very unethical behavior, yet even still today, a lot of people practice beach shopping. Okay. So what we wanted to do is for you to truly to think about, what are some of the possible scenarios that you may run into ethical decision making dilemma, and what a supervisor could recommend you, actually give you advice on how should you deal with it, right? So there is a whole list of templates and points you need to hit, and I would love to have a very honest conversation with your supervisor, your immediate supervisor, that just trying to learn, just tell them want to learn. This is the you can show them the assignments, what is it about, and you say nobody, okay, just trying to stay confidential. You don't need to list any specific people's name. You don't have to mention the company's name either, okay? Because you can't ask your supervisor to talk about something they heard about from other companies. It doesn't have to be this same company. So you can anonymize the name, you can anonymize, the company, the people, the issue. All you would need to care about is what is this thing that is, have a dilemma that maybe actually raise an alarm for you if you run into the similar situation in the future. How should you actually approach it, and how should you actually, deal with it, right? So that's what this assignment is for. Um, Again, but if you have any concerns or questions, reach out to me. I can have one-on-one meetings with you and walk you through. But when you submit this report, I want you to follow, okay? I want you to follow this structure here. Again, as professional writing, as it could be the better, right? So just write it in a way that you truly think through those points there, and you don't really have to be that comprehensive because given the fact that we are still fairly new, you are emerging, you're young professionals in this industry. I'm not actually asking you to provide a perfect solution. This is less about a solution. It's more about awareness, right? What's going on there and what could be some of the, solutions you need to deal with. How do you actually educate yourself, and how do you actually prepare yourself for those, conditions you'll be run into? I shared one of my own experience when I was an intern working for a company, and one day I received an email from the president. The president obviously sent an email to everybody. Says the project manager who actually supervised me during my internship was fired like that afternoon immediately. I was shocked, like what is going on, right? So
Get your
then,
license. You play
what's
sports or
that?
no? You play sports? Which one you play? Oh yeah?
Roman, you
Okay.
have your
What's your best one though?
okay. I'll mute Roman. So, anyways, but what happened is that project manager actually took a gift from one of the subcontractors they work with. It's not a big deal. It's just a really small appliance. They happen to sell those, and that subcontractor, the vendor, actually worked on that project manager's prior job, just as little as that, right? The company found out and they fired the project manager at the spot. Okay. So that just want to share with you. That's, it's hard. It's hard to, understand, oh, why, we think that's okay because, that's a good working relationship, right? But that is a ethical issue and it could be actually bigger, could be small, and who knows. But the company obviously would not tolerate circumstances like that. And they don't want this become a example for people to know and people try or do the same thing, right? So that's just an example given to you, okay? So if you feel uncomfortable to discuss those, but again, like I said, it don't have to be a bad thing. It could be a good thing. It could be a good, ethical challenge, but the circumstance is somebody made the right choice, right? What did you learn from that? It could be either way, okay? So the next one I wanted to explain a little bit is about the scope of work video. This video is very interesting because a lot of students have this doubts about, we wanted to create a scope work video. And what I want you to do is introduce a very focused area of work only throughout your internship. Like you work, let's say you work for a project that is a campus building. I don't want you to explain to me what is the scope of your contract overall. I want you to explain to me something that is small, that is a specific workflow. For instance, you are doing some, foundation. Explain to me how the foundation is done, including those information there, right? Information like, yourself, your projects, and a specific scope you want to focus on. So in other words, I don't want you to be general, talk about what this project's overall is about. It's more about what you choose to present to me, like a specific portion of the work you're working on, right? So it could be foundation, it could be steel framing, it could be, finishing, it could be specialty, it could be, woods and plastics, anything, but it's fairly focused, right? And then you follow those key points there and you present, okay? All right. When you actually record this thing, I want you to use the slides, but don't use the slides rehearsal. I want you to actually present in front of the camera as if you're presenting in the classroom. So you can use, Zoom to screen, record yourself. Then by the time you're done, you can upload that video to YouTube and make sure that if you upload to YouTube, you actually choose unlist instead of actually private, because if you submit a URL from YouTube that is private, I would not be able to open it. Okay. You have to at least make it unlist. If you are worried about everybody watches that, don't make it public, make it unlisted. So that way you share the URL. I can access that because I have the URL. Other people would not be able to search for your video. Okay. If you're using Zoom recording and you just wanted to share the Zoom recording with me, that's fine as well. But make sure that you understand when you share the Zoom link with me, also share the passwords because the Zoom video recording has a password with it. So without seeing the passwords, I won't be able to open your Zoom video either. Okay? Any questions on those? If not, hearing none, let me finish the last one assignments and then open the floor to everybody. The last one is the internship reflection video. That is very general, and you don't have to be very detailed. It's only a 4 to 6 minutes video, and just share your general experiences there and with those key points. See, every single assignments we do provide some instruction, and as long as you follow the instruction and hit those key points there, I don't think you're gonna actually suffer a low grades or anything, by any chance. So the key here is be responsive, right? What we're looking for from the assignments and what you submit matches the expectation, then you should be fairly, fine in terms of your grades. Okay. So to sum it up, right, when you actually look at all the assignments here, and you can see the list of key points here. So the deliverables actually took the majority of the points. You have a total of 6 deliverables, including two meetings. One is midterm check up with me and the final interview with me. Each took 150 points. Then the 4 reports, including 2 videos, that counts 600 points. So together, those are 900 points already. Then your weekly reports is we're looking at a total of 12 weekly reports, but honestly, we're gonna only count 10 of the highest points towards your final grade. So if you feel like you're doing a good job for 10 weekly reports already, you will be exempt for the rest of the 2 reports. So we're only really looking at a 10 out of 12 reports to be submitted. Okay. So I want to pause and I want to open the floor in case anyone has any other questions or any concerns. Anyone?
So we only need to submit 10 week reports.
Correct. Yes, 10 is mandatory because that kind of like, covers 10 weeks of time. And there's no penalty for you submitting more, of course.
I have a question.
Sure, Daniel.
So I didn't catch the beginning of the Zoom, but are the assignments due Monday or Friday? Because I know that on the Canvas it does say it's due Monday. I just wanted to double check on that.
So all those the deadlines for those assignments, as I mentioned earlier, they're just place marks, okay? So they are soft deadlines. As long as you submit those in sequence, ignore the deadline. You will not receive any penalty because everybody starts the internship on a different date. So it is acceptable as long as you submit the assignments eventually by the end of summer. Okay?
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All righty. Anything else?
Yeah, I had a question too.
Yes, please.
How detailed do the weekly reports have to be?
So let's open one. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So the reports document goes like this, right? It's really, really, brief. You look at it, your name, the week, for you is which week is this? Is the first week, second week, third week? So that's why it doesn't really matter, okay? The total hours you worked and the projects, and each day you just provide 1 or 2 sentence summary, high level summary. I don't need to go into the details like, I look at this particular join, I did this thing and I submit this thing, whatever it is. You can summarize them, but you don't need to provide like a detailed report because that, it's just excessive. It's always encouraged for you to have a takeaway for yourself. Like, if you say there's one thing I will take away from this week's experience, what is that? That's what this line is about. Okay. I don't know if there's anything you want to share. Sometimes I have students actually share photos with me. Like, they have been working on a fairly interesting projects. They share a photo. I always enjoy reading those. Okay. Does that answer your question, Fabian?
Yeah. Thank you.
All righty. Anything else? Well, if not, I hope everybody, have a wonderful and meaningful as well as, safe summer internship, okay? Like I said, don't hesitate, reach out to me if you have concerns. Or, immediately, if there's any concern arise, don't wait. Reach out to me and let's talk about it. Okay. Otherwise, I will be sending out the midterm check towards the end of June and early July, and you can sign up for a specific spot. It's only 15 minutes, but don't forget, it's worth 150 points, so you better make it, okay? Alrighty. If you don't have any other questions there, go ahead and can sign off, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, I will be staying for a few more minutes if in case you have any other individual questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Wu. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Dr. Wu, did you say you wanted to speak to me at the end of the
Yes.
class?
Correct. So Sham, I noticed that for the architecture study students, there is one additional assignments, and it is talking about the architecture firm structure that you currently interning with. So help me understand, are you currently interning within an architecture firm or actually a construction firm?
It's an architectural firm.
Okay, so let me share that assignment in a separate email so that you know what to expect, okay? That's the only thing that is different. That is a little additional. I don't know why there's additional assignments for the architecture studies side, but I would not worry too much about it because it's fairly, affordable. It's not really like, too excessive when it comes to the workload. It may take you about 30 minutes to complete.
All right, awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll send you an email and send the requirements to you so that way you have access to it. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wu.
All right, you got it. Yeah, reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, enjoy the experience. Okay.
All right, thank you. You have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye.